Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to do in this one, we're going to create a view and a method inside our tag controller called create, so that we can be able to create any tags from here, right? So what we're going to do as well is we're going to update a route to able to create a tag. All right, so that's what we're going to do in this one. Let's get started. Right, so we obviously finished up with our policy in the previous episode. So what we're going to do in this one is we're just going to return a view. So return a view, and the view that we're going to return is admin.tags.create. We haven't created that view yet, so let's quickly go and create the view. So let's go there under resources, views. Let me just give you some room here. You will see under admin, you will see we've got a tags right now there. We're just going to create a new file in there, and we're going to call it create.blade.php. Right, there's another thing that I want us to do, because if you know the post create, so if you have the template, you will have a post create right here. All right. If you don't have that, so basically what I've got in there is I got the Blade UI kit, the X form, okay, and a name, an input field for the label, and an arrow right there, and obviously just a button. Right. So I'm just going to copy everything in here and paste that inside our tags create like this. And instead of the post create, I'm just going to call this one tags create. Right, so this header, I need to change this. It needs to be the admin template as well. So if you don't have that admin template layout, then you can leave yours as app. This header just corresponds to the header with the default installation of Jetstream. Right, so we got that in there. So we got the name and the button. So we obviously need a couple of things for our tags. So if you only have your name and description, so and not the image, then you don't have to include the image, but I'm going to get to that part in soon. All right, so we got our view right here. We're going to update the view in a second, but before I do that, I actually want to create the routes. All right, so let's go to our routes and our admin routes. If you only work in your app routes, web routes like here, you can go and update them right here. Now we got an admin route that we created ourselves. This is not included in our with your installation. So we create the admin route and we just require it up here. So I'm just repeating that for some people that might be new to the channel. Okay. All right. So we created a route group with a prefix of tags like this. Right. Another thing that I can do as well, I can add a resource route right here. Okay, instead of actually creating all the different routes, like in the post route or the update route, the delete route, and so on and so on. All right, instead of doing that, I'm just going to create a resource route. In order to do that, I'm not going to put it in a group. As you will see, if you put it in a group like this, it will kind of give you a couple of issues. Right, so I'm just going to delete this. All right, just like that. We're still going to have an index, but hold on. All right, so we're just going to do a route. All right, and then we're going to do a resource route. All right, and this is going to be called tags. Okay, and then which controller are we going to reference? All right, we're going to reference the tag controller like this. But now here's the thing, just a gotcha. Okay, for you guys out there. All right, if you're using a resource, you need to make sure in your tag controller you have the standard RESTful methods in here, like the index, the create, the store. If you have different methods, it's not going to work. Okay, so keep it RESTful so that everything works accordingly. Okay, so as you can see, we got our routes. So with the resource, it creates all the different routes for us. So let's quickly open the route list. So I'm just quickly going to open it. So artisan route list. Right, so now I've got my routes right here. So let's go to the tags. As you can see, the index is admin/tags. So admin tags.index. As you can see, the for the store is admin tags, and the route is that name. And for the create, admin tags.create, and for the show, update, and the destroy right here, and obviously the edit. Okay, so we got our route list right there. So if you want to view it in your terminal, you can view it like this, PHP artisan route list. Now, reason I don't use this is for space, because I'm zoomed in quite a lot for you guys as well, but I normally don't use the terminal one. You will see in a second. Now, as you can see, this is how it will look like, and I don't like how it looks like. Okay, so that's why I use the extension for VS Code in order just to view it right there. Okay, so let's just close this off. All right, so now we got our resource right there. So, okay, so now we can actually go to that create view. So in order to go to that view, we need to open up our site nav. So let's quickly do that. So site nav in our admin right here. So as you can see, the tag. So this is our index. Now what we want to do is we want to go to the create one. But so we go to admin.tags.create like that. Okay. So now we can be able to go to the create view. So let's quickly go to the dashboard and see if we can actually go to that view. All right, so we're in the dashboard. So if I click the create right there, we need to go to that view. All right, the name is not the only thing that I want in here. I want to include image for the tag. All right, so for those that might be new, let me quickly show you. All right, so as you can see, all the tags will have different images, and I want to kind of give the author freedom to do that. If you don't want to include images, you don't have to. All right, so it's totally up to you. All right, so what we're going to do is I have a name field. I will add a text box for the description, and I'll obviously add a new input right there for the image. All right, so let's do that. Right, to anybody that might want to know where all the description, everything is coming from, when we created our tags migration, we got a name, we got a slug, then we have a description and an image. All right, and I made this nullable. So what I'm also going to do, I'm going to make the slug field nullable as well, because I'm not going to, basically what we're going to do is we're going to use jobs for this and not actually, I'm going to keep my controllers dumb. Please don't be offended me saying that, meaning no logic will be handled in this course in our controller. It will be basically handed off to a service class, or it will be handed over to a job class. All right, so that you guys can learn a whole lot of more advanced concepts and actually better concepts of how to actually work and structure your code. All right, so just have that at the back of your mind. I want to keep my controllers dumb. All right, please don't be offended with me saying that. All right, I'm obviously going to migrate my database to make sure that this field is nullable. All right, so anyway, that's where that is coming from. So let's quickly go in here. As you can see, the first one is our name field right there. Okay, so if you guys remember, we created a resource controller. So what I'm going to do up here, the action will be route, and that will be admin.tags.store. Let's go there, right? And the thing with this one, since we include an image, we need to include it as files like this. Now, if you're not using Blade UI kit components, okay, so what you normally would have done here, you will have int type equal to multipart data, like this, multipart and / form data, all right? That's normally what you would have had in order to actually create a form with a file. Right, so the first thing, this one, right here, the form input right there, I will change this type to be a file, like this. Right, and this will be image. I'm just going to change that to be an image. The name will be image. Right, and this will be image as well. I'm not going to set the autofocus and required, but we can actually do the required right there. No, we can leave it. Let's leave it for, let's put it in there. Let's leave the required, and the error will be for the image. All right, so this will come back if we do validation in the background, which we will do. So as soon as the form goes to the basically our store method, we're going to do a request validation to make sure everything is accordingly. So let me just update this to be the image. Right, so this will be the name. Everything is completely fine right there. All right, so as you can see, I'm not including any space for the slug, right? I will not, but we will get to that part soon. All right, so let's quickly add another div. Let me just copy this one down. Okay, and I'm going to call this one the description. All right, and I'm not going to have a form input field. All right, so what I will have, so as you can see, this form and labels and everything right here, this is coming from the components of the template. Right, so if you just can have a normal label and an input field or whatever the case may be. So let's quickly go to our components, resources, views, components. You will see we got a form right there, and you will see all the information, the input and stuff like that. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to actually change the input. This needs to be a text area. So let's quickly do that. It's a form text area like this. Okay, so let's quickly go there. So in our form, we're going to create a new file, and we're going to call this one text area.plate.php. So this will be a new component that we're creating. So I'm just going to copy basically our input, copy it like that, and paste it in here. All right. So there's a couple of styling and things in there. So I just want to change this input to be a text area field like this. And it needs to obviously have a closing text area like this. All right, so now we've got our text area field, and I just want to add, I think, a class of width or full, but for now, let's leave it as is. So let's go to the input, to the create right there. So we've got a form text area, and this needs to change to basically be, change this to description. Needs to be lowercase. Let me just do a description like this, and I'll change this back to 9. All right, so this will basically be for our description, and obviously the error for description. All right, let's quickly see if we can view this button. So the button, the styling, everything is okay in there. All right, so in our create method, we've got all this stuff. All right. All right, so this is basically now our image. We've got our name, and we've got our description for our tag. All right, so you can obviously add if they're required, but what we will do is we will do validation and all that kind of stuff in the coming episode. All right, so now if we click an image, obviously we can go and get an image right there, and we can type in the name, description, and then obviously add the create button right there. All right, so that's the end of this one. So that's obviously just a view and with the routes. So what we're going to do in the next one, we need to be able to process this form. But before we can process the form, I want to create a request. Right, so I just want to explain that to anybody that might be new to the channel. All right, so what I want to do, I want to keep this tag controller very dumb. It mustn't know any logic or do anything in here, right? It just needs to know where to send what and all that kind of stuff. So I won't do any validation in here. So like this, validate, all right? I won't do it in here, and then we obviously pass in the request. I'm not going to do any of that. I will create a tag request file, all right, which will handle basically the request and validate the data and stuff like that. Then after that, what we're going to do, not even the storing the information will be done by a job where we can actually will implement queues for that. And as you will see, we will keep things very nice, learning more advanced concepts in Laravel. Right, so that's it for me, guys. So what we're going to do in the next one, we're going to create a request. After that, we will basically create a job in order to basically store the tag and interesting to look out for. So I'll see you guys there, and thank you guys for watching. And if you like it, please give it a like. Feedback, negative or positive, I always appreciate it. I love reading them. I'll see you there. Adios.